Lie back, Isabel. Lie back. Ready, and whee.
Right, welcome back.
Hi everyone.
So today we're talking about water parks.
Yes, water parks.
This has been one of the highlights of being in Singapore, partly because our children have loved them so much. And also they were one of the highlights for when we've been here previously with our friends.
And it's hot. It's hot. You want to be in water all the time.
You do. Even if the monsoon season has kind of hit early here and it's been a lot wetter than we were expecting. I mean, we're still expecting thunderstorms most afternoons, but it's been a lot more than we expected. Yeah. Anyway, so we went to 2 different water parks.
So we went to Sentosa and Wild Wild Wet.
Or technically we went to Adventure Cove.
On Sentosa Island.
On Sentosa Island, but we're going to say Sentosa because it's easier.
Yeah.
Wild Wild Wet is apparently the number one water park in Asia.
Is it?
Yeah, at least they claim that on their website.
I didn't know that.
So, starting with Sentosa, it looks amazing.
It does.
Like
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks like a water adventure playground. The aesthetic is amazing. It makes me feel like I'm in Uncharted, like the computer game Uncharted. The lazy river has like waterfalls and sprays and floats and
there are fish tanks. There's a fish tunnel to float through. You can see manta rays, you can see dolphins, turtles. There's loads of stuff, like lots of sea creatures to see on the way.
If you really jump up, you might be able to see the dolphins. They're not deliberately on display, but you might be able to see them. But yeah, it looks like it describes itself as Adventure Cove.
Yeah.
And we can get out whenever we want, so we can get out of these things. Look, there's a hammer behind you. Oh, where did I run? Is you okay?
It looks really cool.
And there is.
And there are a lot of fun things there as well. Like the wave pool is great fun. Finley, I think, would have drowned himself in that wave pool because he loved it so much. He just kept, even with a life vest on, he kept wanting to go deeper and deeper.
He still talks about it all the time. He wanted to go to the wave pool even today.
Downside is that there's not that much for kids.
Yeah.
Like the wave pool is really cool, and then there's the Pirate Cove, which looks, again, the aesthetic is very impressive. It looks really cool.
It's like a little tree house with water everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a slide to go down.
With, rigging that you would find on a pirate ship, and there's water spraying everywhere.
Ready? Are you ready?
But that's kind of it. So you kind of flip-flop back and forth between the two. But besides that, you just kind of hang out on the lazy river, which is entertaining, but you can only really do that once before you're like, well, I've seen everything and I've spent enough time hanging out in it.
And you can't really be there in the rain. You get cold.
Yeah, and actually the inflatable donuts that you sit in, they only have big ones, which means that we sit in them comfortably, but children can't, like smaller children, there's nothing that they can climb into themselves and float on their own.
Oh, it was a whole adventure getting the 4 of us into those donuts. So I would need to climb into the donut first, then you pass me Izzy.
Yep, so I'm holding Izzy and Finn. I pass you Izzy, then Finn holds onto the side of yours, then I jump into mine, and then we pull Finn onto me.
And then we try to hold on to each other as well.
And then off we float, So Sentosa is really cool, the Adventure Cove, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't have as much for kids, but on one of the plus sides, it does have a place to shelter both in the sun and the rain. It's got a cafe, which is actually under shelter with some fans. Wild Wild Wet.
Yes. The second one, it doesn't look as pretty.
It looks shabby.
It does look a bit shabby.
So when we asked one of our friends about it, she was fairly dismissive and was like, did not look very nice when she was last there, and it really doesn't.
It still doesn't look very nice. The lazy river is a bit boring.
Yes.
It's not as big. There is just nothing to see. It's just a river. There's nothing to see there.
Yeah.
You're just surrounded by blank walls pretty much.
And it's quite short.
Yeah.
In contrast with Sentosa, like it has a big pool that looks like a wave pool, and I don't know whether it's under refurbishment or it's not a wave pool at all, but there were no waves, and that was very disappointing because I'd hoped it would be a wave pool, and it wasn't. If there'd been a wave pool there, it would have been even better.
But the plus is that the donuts are different shapes. There are 3 different sizes of donuts. So Finley was actually able to float in his own donut.
Yeah, which he really appreciated. So Finley is 3.5 and relatively big for 3.5, at least relative to
in Asia.
Relative to kids in Asia, he seems a lot bigger than them. But he was really pleased with that.
Yeah.
But the thing that Wild Wild Wet it kind of sets itself apart with is for kids. So when you walk in, right in front there's just like a normal, what would be in a normal small playground, like a little climbing frame thing with some slides going down it, really simple, but it's filled with water. And there's some little spouts and stuff like that, and so the kids immediately radiate to that.
Yeah, and then just behind it, there are like 6, I think, different different flumes.
Yeah, so there's some slides and some flumes on the side, and they're actually quite big and quite fast. Like some of them like in spirals, some of them are straight.
And it's just for the kids. Like it's not meant to be for adults. Parents can go with their children, but it is meant to be just for the kids.
Yeah, and they're really fun.
Yeah.
Some of them are genuinely quite challenging. Like Izzy really wasn't able to go down the biggest of them. Finley eventually went down all of them, but it took a bit of courage before he did.
We'll get to that one later.
Yeah. Further back, there's an even bigger playground area, like huge playground area with lots of slides, a huge area of water and sprays and stuff like that everywhere. And we spent most of our time there.
And the bucket.
And the bucket.
There's a giant bucket on top of the playground
that we didn't see coming because you don't look up that much. And this is a huge bucket, like God knows how many, a few hundred litres fills up, and so it only falls every like 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, like 5 to 10 minutes. So you have enough time to forget about it.
You definitely can't sit and wait for it. But when it falls, it hits the roof that covers the thing and sprays everywhere. And it's not like a light spray, like it almost knocked Isabel over.
Oh.
But no, it was a lot of fun, and everyone we saw got caught out by it as well. But it was really fun, and so we spent most of our time there.
And there are a lot more slides and flumes for adults as well. Different abilities, so there are some slow ones, there are some really fast ones. There's one that we didn't dare try because it's the one where you step into like a
torpedo
capsule.
where the
You
capsule
step
opens
into it and then the bottom drops out from underneath you as you go down.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll return to it.
We probably would have if we didn't have kids with us. We gave ourselves time for 2 slides each.
Yeah.
So Dario looks after the kids, I run quickly, go down the slide, swap. The last thing to mention is Wild Wet, there is no seating area near where you buy food. So when the thunderstorm came and we had to go and shelter, we had nowhere to go. So we bought some mac and cheese for the kids, and then we ended up having to just sit in the locker room on the floor.
Yeah, we just sat in the locker. There aren't even no benches anyway, just you sit in the locker room.
I mean, there were some benches like out in the park, but under a small umbrella. When there is a proper thunderstorm, that's not really shelter.
Yeah.
But besides that, Wild Wet is generally better if you don't get caught by the rain.
Yeah, for the small kids, it's definitely quite good. So some of the highlights from our adventures.
So one of my highlights was definitely getting stuck on the Pirate Cove flume. Like when you're sitting upright holding a child, you just don't go very fast. You slow down fast and go.
Yeah, you have to lie down, then you'll slide down faster. But we got both shuffling all the way down it.
Yeah, it was kind of awkward and it happened to both of us. Finley in the wave pool.
Oh, he loved the wave pool.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, he's still talking about it. It was absolute highlight for him. Hopefully he'll like being in the sea later on in big waves.
Yes.
You experienced this first, Izzy getting bored in the kids area.
Oh yes,
Baby area.
Sentosa has tiny pool for babies, like the water is about yay deep. And Izzy walked into it and then she turned around, looked at me kind of like, well, what did I do here? And just walked out.
And I took her back there later because I wanted to see this, and she really did. She walked in with me, but she really looked confused as to why we were there. Like, what is the point of this little space? And she's 1.5.
Yeah,
and
but she wanted to go back to the wave pool, onto the slides.
Yeah, totally dismissive. One of the biggest things for me was that Izzy learned how to not get drowned in the water park on her own.
Yeah.
So over the course of the day, Wild Wet, doing all the slides, she gained the confidence to go up the steps, climb onto the slide and slide down it. And through very careful supervision, but not actively lifting her out every time, she learned to climb out of the slide and up to her feet again. Completely on her own, which means that she's a lot safer. It's not just for her own benefit, it's for ours as well, to know that she's going to be much safer doing this on her own over and over again. And as you observed, Finley started to catch her.
Yeah, that's the new thing Finley does. He will now go down the slide, go to the bottom and wait for his sister and then catch Izzy to make sure she comes down safely too. And then Finley went down the big purple slide at Wild Wet.
Yes.
It's a twirly one where you have to sit in a donut by yourself.
And
so your parents can't really come with you there.
No,
you have
you're
to
not.
go by
They're
yourself.
not. Yeah, parents aren't allowed. Adults are actually not allowed down that one. I was disappointed. And it was the first slide we went to because Finn saw it. He's like, I want to do that. And so he carried the big little donut, which is so much bigger than him, all the way up the stairs, got to the top, and then he really didn't want to go down it. He was a bit scared. And we went down the easier slides. And the very end of the day, literally the last thing we did, we wanted to try it again. Admittedly, I was encouraging him. It wasn't his choice to go and try it one more time.
But I think if you didn't push him a little bit, he wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, and so we went up to the top, and I gave him no push whatsoever to get in. I just put the donut in the water. He climbed straight in. He wanted help into the donut, but once he was in, that was it. It was all his choice, and he went straight off down it, and was so pleased with himself for having done it.
He loved it. He absolutely loved it. I think he felt so proud that he's done it. It's like he was proud of himself.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
And finally, we did not notice the rain.
So our water park is just a little bit wetter than we'd anticipated.
Hang on. Ready?
Hey! There we go, the whole family. Yeah, our water park is a little bit wetter than we had anticipated. We'd stayed in it for a little while, but I think we decided...
The rain is cold.
Yeah, the rain is cold. And we can't just stay submerged forever. So we decided to take a break and have a snack.
Oh, it's also lightning now.
Yeah, you can also see the flashes of lightning behind us. And there's the thunder. So probably not very safe to go on giant metal scaffolding for a little while. But we're having fun, Finley.
Did you like it? Yeah.
Yeah. And you, Isabel, you're back.
So which one is your favorite?
If I were to go back again with like friends, like a group of friends, I would go with Sentosa. It has a bit more for adults, I think, in terms of variety. Like there's a sort of adventure, like rock climbing kind of area in one of the pools, which is not great, but it's quite fun to try out for a little while.
Yeah, we weren't able to go there with the kids.
Yeah. There's more interesting stuff, and also the adventure Cove, like the aesthetic, really appeals to me. It makes me feel like I'm in Uncharted, and I really love that. But for kids, I think we both agree.
Yes, Wild Wild Wet. For small kids, definitely go to Wild Wild Wet. I would like to return there actually with bigger kids or group of friends, just to try out some more of the flumes, some of the more adventurous ones. But no, I would definitely return there with Finley and Izzy.
Yeah.
So, have you been to one of them before? Comment below to let us know.
Yeah, I'd love to hear other people's perspectives. If you've taken small kids there before, so the older kids, at what point do you think Wild Wild Wet becomes, or Sentosa becomes a better choice than Wild Wild Wet? Yeah. Let us know below.
Thank you for watching this video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button below, because we're almost at 100 subscribers. So I really want to get to that first little milestone.
We're really close. That's our first milestone.
Yeah.
And
so please share it with your friends and subscribe. And thank you so much.
Yeah, and we shall see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.